Let's talk about intonation. This is at the heart of what we do as instrumentalists. We try to find the best versions of the pitches in the pieces that we're playing and the scales that we're playing in. And when we're collaborating with other people, we're trying to find versions of these notes that blend with others. It's a pretty detailed and complex topic. There are some wonderful books written about the physics involved in intonation and how strings vibrate and things like sense and partials. I think, I end up recommending Hans Jensen's book, Cello Mind, often because he just throws so much in there. He and Minna Chung wrote this incredible book. It's a marvelous resource. And the whole first part is on intonation and how that works and different ways to listen. So I think that's a nice place to start if you're ready to delve a little deeper. For practical application, in the daily practice, I spend time every day, even if it's a little time, if I don't have all the time in the world, some of my time is spent playing with a drone. And this is so that I can navigate, an octave or two of pitches and really find the heart of those pitches, really listen for the core of the fundamental, and to compare and to see what is the tolerance. How, if I'm playing something expressive, and I'll play a little Dvorak American Quartet, a second movement, how far can I push a G sharp when it's going to A? Certainly if you're playing with piano, you're a little bit more limited in how much intonation mobility you can play with. In a string quartet, we talk a lot about tuning our perfect intervals. Those have to be there. If we're playing the same note, it's called the perfect prime. If we're playing octaves, fourths and fifths, those are our bread and butter, and we try to make sure those are really locked in. I try to do the same thing in my scales practice and arpeggios. And so just having a little science-y time with my tuner is very humbling and also fortifying. I feel like I play better in tune afterwards. So before working with a tuner, let me just talk about the sympathetic vibrations that we have with our open strings and that we can and I think should listen for. A great warm-up is to play the notes of your open strings. Let me see if and I'm watching for my A string. And I'm watching to see and trying to hear it. A little too flat. Here. If it's really in tune, that string will start to vibrate like crazy. Jensen also has this in his book, a whole little chapter on this. I think it's great. Do the same thing with the D. I find that most of us start out playing a little sharp on the C string. Watching the D string go crazy. Okay. Here. Just experiencing this is a combination of resonance and pitch, right? And that's what playing really is, getting the instrument to vibrate fully and happily, successfully, and playing in tune. So that exercise I think is really helpful. And then, as I said, just let's see, I've got an A here, and there's this melody that I'll have to play soon. So I might play with no vibrato and look around. And I'm just listening for the moment when, listening for the moment when my pitch really meshes with this. And of course, this is an artificially generated thing, so it's got a whole different timbre. We're not exactly cut from the same cloth, but nevertheless, it's keeping me honest. You can use a piano if you prefer. So I'm listening to my D against that A, my A, my E is another perfect interval. And now I'm going to have some fun by maybe coloring some of the other intervals. And as I'm playing like this, you can see I'm taking a lot of time. I'm playing sort of out of tempo, but I'm feeling where my hand is. I'm feeling intervals in the hand. I'm thinking about spacing, finger spacing, and I'm trying to remain relaxed and in a calm state while I work on my intonation. I'm going to have a little fun with the scale that comes next. Right, if this were Shostakovich, maybe I'd go that low. Maybe not so much for, it's my fifth. And then how far can I push? I might have pushed it too far. Now I might vibrate. And this really changes. Yeah. We're in C major here. But you can do this with scales. You can do this with really wonderful with arpeggios, just really matching and feeling, being careful to be mindful of the feeling of the hand position when you're working like this. So that's something you can take away, right? You can train the hand to behave in a certain way in a certain time frame against a certain pitch. And that's very useful for helping you to develop more consistency. Vibrato adds, some intrigue to the whole process, but it's also good. See what happens. What's the tendency when you're vibrating? Do you sort of allow, does your ear forgive you too easily, and are you wandering into other territories? Is it too wide for the intervals to remain pure? Those are all questions you want to be the first to know if you're within those bounds. And if you're not, if it's what you want, if you're trying to be a little excessive. Yeah, there are, the different tunings, equal temperament and Pythagorean tuning and just tuning. These are, each has its place. I would say in the quartet, we use them all. We don't identify them. We don't say, let's play this, let's use our Pythagorean ears for this now, or our style. But we do work slowly. We tune every day. I tune everything that I play in my solo life. And I think it's very, very useful to just have this quiet time, maybe even within each hour of practice, that you have this kind of careful work. So yeah, it should be actually in the end a pleasure, even if it means having to admit you're not 100% right all the time. It's just good to gain control.